The City Council of the City of Gun Barrel City, Texas will meet in a regular meeting in City Hall Council Chambers located at 1716 West Main Street, Gun Barrel City, Texas on Tuesday, November 15th at 6:30 p.m. If you would all stand for invocation, please. Thank you, God, for all your blessings, for the strength you give us each day, and for all the people around us who make life more meaningful and interesting. Help us work together to find the best answers and solutions for our community. Bless our Thanksgiving meals and keep us safe in travels to spend time with family and friends. We pray this in Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call from my left, please. Y'all's here.
Evans here.
LaRue here.
Key here.
Foster here.
We have a quorum. Council, we're going to skip over to item 5A. Going into executive session, convene into executive sessions pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071, consultation with an attorney to discuss the Electric Arts Festival, and 551.072, deliberations about real property to discuss eminent domain. Folks, we need to do this because our attorney's only available from 6 to 6:30 tonight, so we have to go in and talk with him about that, and then we'll be back out. Mrs. Sikora? We will now reconvene into open session to take any action necessary as a result of the executive session. The time is 7:30. May I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to authorize the city manager and the city attorney to appoint an individual to audit the Electric Arts Festival of November 2022.
Have a motion. May I have a second?
A second.
Have a motion and a second. Vote for my left.
Yaz, yes.
Evans, yes.
Lurie, yes.
Key, yes.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, we're going to go back up to the top of the program now. I have a presentation to do. If Mr. Jace Ornswald would please join me in the front. I have a proclamation recognizing Mr. Jace Ornswald for his leadership, volunteerism, and the Holly Trail success. Whereas Jace Ornswald began volunteering for the city of Gumbel City's Holly Trail in 2021, and whereas Jace Ornswald has demonstrated a great deal of passion and creativity in planning and shaping the city's Holly Trail 2 years in a row, and whereas Jace Ornswald dedicated hundreds of volunteer hours, and whereas with Jace's leadership and vision, the city had a successful event 2 years in a row with thousands of attendees. Whereas the City Council of the City of Gumbel City believe and find that it is the best interest of the city, its residents, and the residents of the surrounding communities to recognize, honor, and thank Jace Ornswald for his dedication to this event. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Gumbel City, with its residents, express their appreciation and gratitude to Jace Ornswald and thank him for his tireless service. Jace has been the leader with his vision of the Holly Trail. He has put together the features and the smoke and the sound and the lights, and with all the city volunteers that came along and helped, the city staff that's come out and helped, he has really put on a couple of events that have been just really phenomenal. I just feel like it was a good time for us to thank you for that. I certainly appreciate it. Chief Williams and Judge Grace, y'all come up. We're going to do we'll do the official swearing in of the police chief. Citizens' comments. The purpose of this item is to allow citizens an opportunity to address the city council on items that are listed on the agenda or issues that are not listed on the agenda. Any person desiring to make a public comment must first sign at the podium at least 10 minutes prior to the start of the meeting in order to be recognized by the presiding officer. Individual citizen comments are limited to 3 minutes. The presiding officer may ask the citizen to hold their comment on an agenda item until that agenda item is reached. The city council has no obligation to respond in any manner to comments or questions from the public. Any response from a member of the city council to non-agenda comments is limited to a statement of specific factual information, a recital of existing policy, or direction to staff for follow-up. We have a number of citizens' comments. I'm just going to take them as I was given to them. Ms. Spradberry? And yeah, I remind you, it's 3 minutes, so.
Hi, how are you? I'll try to make this as quick as possible. So my name is Karen Nicole Sprayberry. I'm a citizen of Gun Barrel City, also in the county, though. I am a current independent contractor for Renee Weaver, who Gun Barrel City came to create the vision you guys had for the Electric Arts Festival. I met Ms. Weaver in 2019, and I've worked closely with her ever since on various events of different sizes and types. Never have I seen the mess created that happened when she agreed to this festival. From behind the scenes all the way up to the actual festival that stemmed mostly from the current city manager, Jeff Arnswald, from what I saw personally and secondhand. In the years I have worked with her, she is not only a colleague, but a friend. I have seen all the things she has done to promote doing things the right way and the safe way, investing in the future, and is also her top priority. That isn't mentioning the literal blood, sweat, and tears that she invests, and Gun Barrel City happens to be the main one that she loved when she came here in 2019. When Gun Barrel City approached Ms. Weaver, I was apprehensive, not because I questioned her ability, but in her transplant perspective of our town and as a local knowing how it actually is. Despite my warning to her, I did choose to invest because I know that what she is capable of. I realize you guys have already gone to special sessions, so some of those things that I have already written down doesn't apply. So I'm gonna kind of skip to the end, but a lot of words were misrepresented throughout this whole last couple of months, specifically starting in October. A lot of those things were said by, again, Jeff Arnswald, things that I have seen personally. This festival, from an outside looking in, was amazing. It was a success, and if you guys didn't see that, I don't know what y'all were looking at. But the things that have been said about her promoting the event and the things that she has done are absolutely not true. And when y'all do the audit and y'all see the budget that's really all y'all are worried about, y'all are missing the point as a whole. One thing that I want to say for the record, because what I saw from this whole thing is when July Fest became smaller than the Electric Arts Festival, that's where I started to take notice that things started to change. And I realized that the budget for July Fest was bigger than the EDM or the Electric Arts Festival first, until Renee raised almost $38,000 to add to the $80,000 budget that you guys put in. If the EDM Festival needs to be audited, so does the July Fest. And the reason I say that is because you guys use the Hotshot funds for the July Fest, and that is to be used for tourism to come out from not the locals. And so the Hotshot funds should be used, obviously, for the EDM Festival, which I'm sure is part of it. But it would be my recommendation at this point that if you guys are going to audit the EDM Festival, I would suggest doing the same thing for the July Fest one, because it seems that nobody can get any information on the budgeting or who does what or how it's done with that festival. But either way, thank you guys for your time, and I hope that you guys do the right thing for the community and not just for what it looks like from y'all's perspective and what y'all think has happened.
Thank you, ma'am.
May I ask a question?
Nope,
Okay.
I'm up for a question.
nope. Have a seat. Josh Morardi.
Hello.
Before you start, Mr. Marty, one thing I will say is that we do not allow, and I didn't interrupt you a moment ago, but no one's going to disparage city staff or any council members by name. So if you have something, you can say staff, but don't disparage anybody by name.
What does it mean?
Don't say anyone's name. You can say city manager.
Okay.
Name or title, either one. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joshua Moretti. I'm a citizen of Gun Barrel City, and I am employed as an independent contractor, and I am here to talk about the situation that happened Saturday at the Gun Barrel City Electric Arts Festival. I was hired by Renee Weaver and took direction from her while putting the cases of water up where I was told the city manager yelled from a small distance away and told us to stop what we were doing.
Again, I'm not, just if you have a problem with staff, just say the staff. It's not about individuals. Thank you.
Okay. Doing what we were told, and he started yelling and cussing at us and started walking at a faster pace towards us, and by the time he got to us, he was still tempered, and we finished what we were doing and went on our way.
Thank you, sir. Have a seat.
Thank you.
Noah, and I'm sorry, I'm going to mess up this last name. Nkosa? Is that close?
All right, I'm Noah Hinojosa. I'm a citizen of Gun Barrel City, Texas. I don't have a lot to say. I just want to speak on behalf of the EDM enjoyers like myself. I myself, as an EDM artist, was super excited to have a festival representing my genre of music. I have been waiting for a moment like this for a while. I was even looking to plan my own event. But once I heard about Renee's, I was prompt to message her as soon as possible, and she was very welcoming in letting me join her team. And from my perspective, overall, it was an amazing experience. All of my friends who were able to make it loved the event, and I just really hope that we can show this town another great event just like that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will say for clarity and factual information, the audit is being done because the budget for the event was listed at $80,000, and so far it is extremely over budget in the neighborhood of $140,000. So that is taxpayers' money, and we have to do a thorough audit to find out what happened and where this money went. So that's why we're doing the audit.
Mr. Mayor, a council member make a comment at this time?
I'd rather you not.
Okay.
Matt Gillis? Yep. Oh, you want me to wait till that item comes up to call you? Okay. Scott Coleman? Sure. Yep. And Ms. Ridgo, you want to wait till then also, or do you want to speak now? Okay. Jesse Aguilar? And which item is it? You didn't list it, so. Pardon? Okay. Jay Burson?
Let me get my timer started so I don't overtime. My name is Jay Burson. I live at 105 Gill Drive here in Gun Barrel City. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen on the board and the mayor, for letting me speak. I'm speaking on behalf of the eminent domain and things related to it. Section 501.103 of the Texas Government Code defines project as an infrastructure. By this definition, Pier 334 does not meet the criteria as defined. Eminent domain or seizure of personal property is unjustified. Moreover, item 1, the $500,000 loan that EDC had with Government Capital Corporation advances the 334 project, putting a loan payment of $10,885.84 per quarter until the year 2036. In the event of a loan default, lodger's tax, I think it's called lodger's tax, and the land will be in jeopardy due to the fact that the lender will have the first mortgage. Item 2, the performance agreement between Gun Barrel City and EDC and YNS Services shows significant bias toward the YNS services. Example, the $12 million covers only the cost of the hotel construction. This does not cover the shops, the water park, any other facilities as shown in the drawings. These extra could said that it would most likely come through grant money. YNS Services has agreed to pay the EDC 16.667% of their net income, which is net, not gross, if or when the 334 project becomes profitable. No other payments are referred to in this agreement. Item number 3, if the 334 project fails, the EDC assumes all cost of said loans and has obligated the lodger's tax in a separate account to secure these payments. Under this agreement, the EDC will convey all said properties to YNS. This being said, EDC and the citizens of Gun Barrel are jeopardizing the land and the lodger's tax. However, without the exception of time, YNS Services has no financial risk in this Pier 334 project. And I do have copies of the stuff to back this up. If anybody after the meeting would like to have a copy, I'd be more than happy to share it with you. Thank you for your time.
And Lana Allrens.
Hello, my name is Lana Ahrens. I'm here about the dog situation. First, I want to start by thanking the council members who responded to my email. Your kindness, understanding, and compassion is greatly appreciated. I am concerned about transparency. Current ordinance say that you are picking up dogs at large. That is not happening. Dogs at large put our community in danger, especially our young children and elderly. If the plan is to collect the dogs, then euthanize after 72 hours. We deserve to know that. If you're going to build a shelter, the minimum medical requirements include 3 doses of a 5-panel vaccine, Intratrac vaccine, which is for kennel cough, rabies vaccine, tests for parvo and heartworm, treatment for worms, flea and tick, heartworm preventative, microchip, spay and neuter, and heartworm treatment if positive. 17% of the dogs that are admitted to the shelter test positive for heartworm. Area shelters have offered guidance, even with the political turmoil. They wish for the best care of the animals regardless of politics. It was irresponsible to allow the contract to expire without a plan in place. It's financially irresponsible to wing it and say we can run a shelter for $50,000 without understanding the complexity of shelter care finances. When are dogs going to be picked up? Kaufman Shelter took 2 years to build. Will the minimum medical requirements to prevent disease spread and reduce overpopulation be carried out? Saying we're trying and we can't go back sounds like political excuses. Please do better. Thank you. If anyone wants to hear more about what's going on, Gun Barrel City, Texas Citizen Watch Group on Facebook. Everyone's welcome to join. Thank you.
Item 1, consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussions of these items. If discussion is desired, then that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Consider approving the following reports: City Manager Report, Code Enforcement, Court Report, EDC previous meeting minutes, Fire Report, Permits and Inspections, Police Dispatch and Animal Control September and October, previous meeting minutes, Street and Park Maintenance. May I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
A motion is second. Any discussion? Vote from my left.
Dodge, yes.
Evans, yes.
LaRue, yes.
Key, yes.
Walsh, yes.
Item 2A, discuss and/or take action to interview candidates for the Board of Adjustments and consider making appointments. Applicant, Mr. Marty Mullins, is he still here? Yes, sir. Introduce yourself. Mr. Mullins has been on the BOA for quite some time now, so.
My name is Marty Mullins, and I live in Gun Barrel City and have been on the Board of Adjustments for a while now. I previously was on Planning and Zoning. Anybody have any questions or want to know anything about me?
Mr. Mullins, I don't have any questions. As I've come to know you over the last several years and your family's commitment and your volunteerism to the city, let me just say thank you for what you and your family have volunteered to do in the past, and thank you again for volunteering to come forward and offer to do it again.
Here, here.
I agree. Hearing no questions, may I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to discuss and or take action to interview candidates for the Board of Adjustments and consider making appointments.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Vote for my left.
Yawns, yes.
Evans, yes.
LaRue, yes.
Key, yes.
Boss, yes.
Well, it doesn't say who it is. We need to put his name on there.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Marty Mullins to fill an open position on the Board of Adjustments.
You making a, okay. Have a motion, may I have another second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Vote for my left.
Yawns, yes.
Evans, yes.
LaRue, yes.
Key, yes.
Boss, yes.
All right. We'll get it done one way or the other. Item 2B, discuss and/or take action to adopt ordinance number 2022-022, authorizing the institution of eminent domain proceedings. Ordinance number 2022-022, an ordinance of the City Council for the City of Gun City, Texas, authorizing the institution of eminent domain proceedings, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date. For the citizens out there, this is a piece of property that's 100 feet by 110 feet that is in a legal battle between an ex-wife and a married couple that was supposed to go to court this week, I believe. But the ex-wife has now, my understanding, has filed for a jury trial, so that will put off the project for like another year. The property is valued at $2,000 by the tax rolls. The EDC negotiated a purchase price of the property for $85,000, and we still hope to be able to complete this transaction at that level, but we just don't think it makes good sense for us to wait another year before the project can start, and we need to have this property wrapped up either under contract by both parties or completed before the site plan is going to be submitted for us to allow the developer to start turning dirt and moving forward with the project. So I don't want you thinking that we're just jumping out there trying to take somebody's land away from them for no particular purpose, but this is tied to the Pier 334 project, and we're just trying to get the project moved along, and hopefully we'll be able to get a contract from the ex-wife that if she wins the lawsuit, she'll pay for the property. She'll sell the property to us, or if she loses it, then the contract that we currently have will go through. So may I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to discuss and/or take action to adopt ordinance number 2022-022, authorizing the institution of eminent domain proceedings.
Have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just to reiterate what the mayor said, that this is not an attempt to take away anyone's property. This property shows on the tax rolls to have a value of $2,000. The EDC currently has a contract to purchase this for $85,000, but due to the process of following through on this, a discovery was made that another person may have a claim to it, and we are now wishing to negotiate with them and pay them for the property.
Any further discussion?
Yes, I'd like to say that based upon Section 17, Article 1, Section 7 of a 2009 Texas Government Code constitutional amendment by the public, that I think, obviously, I don't disagree that we have the authority for eminent domain, but I do not think that we are on the right track to be successful in this for the same reason. The reason being that Section 17B reads, in this section, public use does not include the taking of property under subsection A of the section for transfer to a private entity for the primary purpose of economic development or enhancement of tax revenue. And I think this is what the purpose of this is. There may be some disagreement with this among my colleagues, but I would have to, this is my position on this, and as a result, I will be voting on this to be, when we vote, my vote. Thank you.
Someday you'll take the city attorney's advice. Any further discussion?
I'd like to say that I'm going to be taking the city attorney's advice, who has completely become well-read on this topic and also has a law license that shows that they are licensed by the state of Texas to issue that advice. and given their advice was that this is completely legal and there's absolutely nothing inappropriate about it, and that one slender view of select text from the law is not reason to stop.
Any further discussion?
Well, this, if we get the land, it would be built and all the citizens could use it,
That's
correct?
correct. It would be a parking lot and a sidewalk, and all citizens would be using it. Again, this is 100 by 110 feet. It's not much use for anything else. Any further conversation? Vote from my left.
Yours, yes.
Evans, yes.
LaRue, yes.
Key, yes.
Foster, no.
Item 3A, public hearing on a request to replat lots 815 and 816 in the Tamarack subdivision belonging to Christy and Keith White, physically located at 206 Holly Glen Street, Gunbarrel City, Texas, and to one lot, Lot 815R. Public hearing is open. Does anybody wish to speak on this item? Public hearing is now closed. Item 3B, discuss and/or take action to consider approving the replatting of lots 815 and 816 in the Tamarack subdivision belonging to Christy and Keith White, physically located at 206 Holly Glen Street, Gunbarrel City, Texas, into one lot, Lot 815R. May I have a motion, please?
Please go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to discuss and/or take action to consider approving the replatting of lots 815 and 816 in Tamarack subdivision belonging to Christy and Keith White, physically located at 206 Holly Glen Street, Gunbarrel City, Texas, into one lot, Lot 815R.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Vote from my left.
Yours, yes.
Evans, yes.
LaRue, yes.
Key, yes.
Foster, yes.
Item 3C, public hearing on a request to rezone lots 1, 2, 4, and part of 3A, and lots 5 and 6, and part of 7 and 8A in the Northwood Shore subdivision, better defined as 2.048 acres in the AB 59 JP Brown Survey, Henderson County, Texas, in the city of Gunbarrel City, belonging to Infinity Lakefront LLC and Alfonso Ramirez from Local Business District B1 to General Business District B2. We have some folks that want to speak. Mr. Aguilera.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Jesse Aguilar. I am a resident of Gunbarrel. Let's see here. In the descriptive layout, they described that, that is the builders, they described that we only have one direct neighbor, which is residential. Well, I am that neighbor. So it's directly going to impact me and my family directly. They state on there that at this time, I do oppose of the current plan. I do oppose of the current plan just because of the phases. There's a phase 2, which is going to be adding a four-story structure, which is, again, right next to my property. For everyone that lives here, as far as city council members, if a hotel, an unsupervised hotel, I should say, was being built next to you, you'd have those same concerns as far as privacy and other scenarios that come into play with having an unsupervised hotel there. Basically an Airbnb. And so those are my concerns. So the other concern is the screening. In their descriptive layout, they state on there that that the lighting will be provided, and the existing screening is ideal, which all that's there is bushes and trees, and that's not sufficient. There's a chain link fence that extends the majority of that length of the property, and so part of that is what's I don't approve of is the screening. There's not enough screening there to currently approve the current plan. I would suggest, if nothing else, by all means, I do encourage the development in Maybach or in Gun Barrel, but at the same time, I do have some concerns being that it's right next to my property and there's not a sufficient amount of screening. I would suggest maybe adding to this plan, maybe a 8-foot screening wall, maybe masonry or wood fence, to reflect that lighting. That's my concern. Which also, which is another concern of mine, is the 4th story.
30 seconds, sir.
Keeping that privacy out of my area. So I do have some concerns there. For that reason, I currently oppose of the development and the plan that's in place. And and with it being an off-site Airbnb, unless the police staff is ready and adequately staffed and financially staffed to be down there on the weekends when the Airbnb is unsupervised, that, you know, I would take a look at that as well, because that is a major concern of having unstaffed people.
Thank you, sir. Linda Rigo?
Hi, my name is Linda Rigo, and I'm a realtor here in Henderson County. I used to own the house that Jesse had, so I understand his concern about the lighting and also about the sound. When sound travels across water, it's extremely loud. My sister owns the house next to Jesse, so I also have power of attorney for her. She's in a nursing home right now, but we're very concerned about the elderly people that live on the street, the congestion, and was wondering about the deed restrictions on the property. And also, has any of this been through the Texas or the Tarrant County Water Board? What do they have to say about the pool that's going to be on the property, and also this marina that looks like it takes care of about 40 boats? The emissions alone on that street and in that area are going to be absolutely horrific. And parking. They've got parking for, I don't really know how many cars, but there's for 10 trailers. And we know that pickups and SUVs and the various vehicles that we all have, it's supposed to be a high-end place, so people will have high-end cars. The view from Jesse's house and from my sister's house will absolutely be completely obscured. There won't be any view at all with all the boats and everything that are right there. And so the phase for phase 1 looks like it would be okay with the 2-story hotel, but I'm also in favor of the wall that Jesse's talking about, because it's just going to be a nightmare for the residents on that street. The access in and out of that property with 2 acres, a 4-story hotel, 40 boats in a marina. And I guess I don't really understand, if you go from B1 to B2, you can have a bar that's open until 2 o'clock in the morning.
30 seconds, ma'am.
I'm sorry?
30 seconds. I need you to wrap up. We've got 30 seconds left.
Okay.
Thank you.
If there's a bar on that area, it's going to be noise and music and all the different things that go on in a bar for the residents on that street. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Scott Coleman.
Good evening. My name is Scott Coleman. I'm speaking on behalf of the residents on the Lee Way on the same subject. In layman's terms, my understanding is that they are requesting to go from a relatively low-impact business district zoning to a higher-impact business district zoning. And they call it a boutique hotel, upscale this, upscale that, and it could very well be that. But the definition, short-term rental complex, fits it regardless of what you want to call it. It is a short-term rental complex with absolutely no supervision. People coming in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. And I want to put this in perspective. You may say that, okay, 15, 30 rooms is not that big a deal. But if you run the numbers and using their occupancy, the 15 to 30 rooms, 2 to 4 people, maybe 6 per room, at an 80% occupancy means that over 17,000 people could be there a year. If you use the hotel industry's average, which is 1.8 days per average of a hotel stay, that means there's 9,000 to 10,000 people there a year. If they were wildly successful and they rented them out for a week, right? Everyone rented out for a week, you're talking about a minimum of 3,000 people there in a year. All of that totally unsupervised. How would you like to put that next to your house? How would you like that next to your mother or father or grandparents? We have elderly people on the street, and we're talking about thousands of transitionary people there day in and day out, unsupervised. Now, I would be the first to say 99% of the people coming there are probably going to be good, law-abiding citizens, no issues. But I think it's fair to say that that bad 1% will happen. When you talk to people in the industry, they said you can expect for a property like this between 85 and 150 noise or crime incidents on that property in a year. I think that is something that we have to talk about because it's unsupervised, the only people to take action on that will be senior citizens calling the police. A police force which is understaffed to service today, let alone staffed to service this kind of influx of transitionary type of people. I want to give you an example of something that happened recently on the Lee Way in the last few weeks. We had a noise incident. It occurred over a period of a month of time. It happened from 7 in the morning to 7 at night, 7 days a week. So Sunday morning at 7 in the morning to Saturday at 5 in the afternoon, we had construction going on that exceeded the Gun Barrel city limits by a minimum of 20 decibels. So we're talking about just under 100 decibels that if you read what happens at that level, it can start impacting your hearing after 25 minutes. This went on for over a month. We contacted the Gun Barrel City Police Department. Listen, they've got more important calls than answering things on noise, and I can certainly appreciate that it took them some time to get there.
30 seconds, please, sir.
So after calls over 3 calls, they responded within a day. When they came, even though we had video evidence of them greatly exceeding the noise by over 20 decibels of our current laws, they said they could not enforce it because we didn't have a city meter certified by the city. The only person that has that is the person that works for the city for that. So there's no way for the police to enforce this. No matter, not only are they understaffed, they don't have the equipment to enforce it. So here we had someone breaking the law for over a month, and they could not cite and were not able to do anything about it, and they continued to break the law and with those noise levels.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Matt Gillis.
Hi, my name is Matt Gillis. I represent the Hotel Infinity Lakefront LLC. I do want to talk to a lot of the concerns. We did in the renderings. In your packet, there is a wall in the renderings, and we will have a wall for screening against the neighbor's house. We'll also add some vegetation and trees that'll go taller. In terms of views from that side, we don't have any windows on those sides of the buildings. They all look over the lake, and so I take a high priority in the screening, and we'll make sure that's sufficient. In terms of the hotel, we are using technology to automate the hotel. Starwood Hotels, Aloft Collection does the same stuff. The Moxie Collection by Marriott's doing it. There's a bunch of hotel chains that are doing it right now. Hyatt.
Please, let him speak.
Hyatt Andes Collection, and there's many, many hotel chains that are using technology to automate the hotel check-in process. We're providing a luxurious resort experience to our guests. Loud noise would reduce our guest experience, and so we're not going to allow that. We will not allow loud parties, as it will affect our guests and our neighbors. So I have the same concerns, we have multiple guests there, and so I don't want loud noises there either, because it'll affect our guests as well as our neighbors. We'll have someone on call and nearby to address any issues that arise after hours. We'll have motion detection security cameras that will alert us and can be remotely monitored. Our property regulations and rules will address all these issues and will be agreed to by the guest at check-in. Like when you go to the airport, you check, I don't have firearms in my luggage. We'll have a very similar process. We'll set the expectations and the standards from the booking all the way through the check-in and check-out process of our expectations of the guests to be responsible citizens and not throw parties and be loud and crazy. And then I can't guarantee there's not gonna be an issue, but we will have policies in place to handle all the stuff anything that does arise. And if there are issues, when we open, I'm gonna be there for a month straight, making sure everything goes off without a hitch, making sure I deal with anything that arises, and then we'll be able to pivot and change if we need to, and add staffing if we need to. We're not trying to be staffless. We're just trying to automate our check-in processes and be efficient. And so we'll address any of those issues as they arise and come up. If you have any questions, please go for it.
We'll do that when we get to the next item.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, public hearing is now, anyone else want to speak on the public hearing? Public hearing is now closed. Discuss and/or take action to adopt ordinance number O-2022-023, rezoning lots 1, 2, 4, and part of 3A and lots 5, 6, and part of 7 and 8A in the Northwood Shore subdivision, better defined as 2.048 acres in the AB 59JP Brown Survey, Henderson County, Texas, in the city of Gun Barrel City, belonging to Infinity Lakefront LLC and Alfonso Ramirez from Local Business District B1 to General Business District B2. Mr. City Manager, you have anything you want to add to what's been said?
No, just that this was brought up and discussed last night at the Planning and Zoning Commission, and it passed, I believe, with one dissenting vote, or recommended to be brought to City Council with one dissenting vote.
Thank you. I'm sorry? You should have asked that last time, but I'll let you. Go ahead. Public hearing would have been a better place for it, so.
I apologize.
No problem.
I just want to say that we heard a lot of comments last night, that we had a fairly spirited discussion, and I think the primary thing that came out of that discussion is that the Planning and Zoning Commission urged Mr. Gillis and his partner, Mr. Ramirez, to get the contact information for these residents and meet with them to discuss their issues, similarly to the discussion that was had between the Pier 334 developer and the residents on Lamb's Retreat. I think that will be a great step forward as this process moves forward.
Thank you. Council, questions?
I have a couple questions, and maybe the gentleman could answer these. Looking at your request from B1 to B2, one of the things you talk about is boat storage. Is that on land? Are you going to have a marina? I see boat docks, but is a marina, you're going to sell gasoline? What's that going to be like?
So we intend to have a small, long-term boat storage marina on the far right side near the bridge on Highway 198.
In the water? Or?
In the water, nothing on land, just parking on land right there. And there's plenty of parking for the site. I think there's like 40-some parking spaces.
You'll have lifts?
They'll have boat lifts, and so long-term storage, yearly leases.
What about gasoline?
Right now, we don't intend to have gas, but that's open conversation to have, so.
Is there a boat launch pictured on your map?
There is, right next to the hotel, right next to the marina, there's the site plan. So you have the marina on the far right next to the bridge, and then we have a boat ramp shown there as well.
How would you manage that? Would it be open to the public, or would it be?
It would be a private boat ramp that would be used by the hotel guests that came to bring their boats and launch, and then the marina customers.
Are there any deed restrictions on any of this property? Does P&Z know this? You looked at deed restrictions yet?
We have not, because we have not done that because the issue before us last night was merely a zoning change. And as I think you are aware, the state of Texas has zoning laws, and we have to find a legal reason to deny a zoning change, and we did not find one. The only issue before planning and zoning, as I believe it is the only issue before council tonight, is a zoning change. Nothing else has been decided or will be decided until we see more detailed plans from the people who own the land and want to develop it. And that will be a long, detailed process with many questions addressing all the concerns that you heard this evening.
Ms. Weller, if the council votes to approve this tonight, due to there not being any legal compelling reason to deny it, does that guarantee that all the things or any of the things that the neighbors who have every right to have a very, they have a financial interest and their lives are in this neighborhood, if we vote yes to this, does this guarantee any bad thing will happen or any good thing will even happen? We'll move forward with any planning? Or does it just merely open the door to more discussions?
It changes the zoning, which opens the door to more discussions. And I would also like to point out that in the comprehensive plan, which was extensively worked on in part by me, I was on that committee, this particular acreage of land is designated in, I believe it's called a Lake View District. And this is exactly the type of project, not perhaps this exact project, but the type of project that was envisioned in the comprehensive plan for this particular acreage.
Thank you for your answer. So to reiterate, if the council were to vote yes to approve this, it merely opens the door for continued discussions, which would potentially or could potentially include your own suggestion of this developer meeting with these residents to make sure that everyone's concerns are addressed?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I cannot envision a situation that planning and zoning, as they move forward, would not expect that all of those concerns be addressed during that process.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, sir.
What guarantees do we have that this process might go forward? It's a good idea to talk. How do we make that happen? How can we facilitate it?
Vote yes.
Voting tonight, voting yes on the rezone would make it move forward. You know, this is, I think it's a good spot for a B2 zoning because, don't quote me on this precisely, but I think there's a 18,000 traffic count on Highway 198 right through there. It's in the comprehensive plan, so don't quote me. And it's right on a state highway, so that seems like it would be a central business location. And the comprehensive plan wants in the comprehensive plan for the Lakeview District, it specifically states it wants marinas, hotels, and restaurants, and boat-up restaurants. And that one pier that I'm envisioning for the restaurant is gonna be a floating pier, so it's not gonna be way up here. It'll be floating, and so it'll be minimally, it will effectively be used as much. And so the ones that will have a minimal, the design right now in my head is a very modern minimal roof pitch on the main marina, but that's way on the other side of the property, paralleling the bridge. So
We're a very long ways from the plat and the design of the buildings, and we're a long ways from all of that. We're just, At this point in time, we're talking about rezoning of the property.
Will this go back to P and Z at some time again? Kate, can you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It will first have to come through the city engineer, I believe. Then it will come to planning and zoning, and it may come to us several times. This is merely a zoning change to allow this project to move forward. Even the renderings that you have in your packet tonight and we had at planning and zoning are merely representational. They are not an official plat. They are not an okay from Tarrant County Water Board. They are not any of that. This is the first basic preliminary step in a long chain of events that will have to take place, a long chain of steps that will have to take place.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and read the ordinance for the record. Ordinance number 2022-023, an ordinance of the City of Gun Barrel City, Texas, amending the comprehensive zoning ordinance and map as heretofore amended to grant a change in zoning to General Business District B2 for lots 1 through 8A, better described as lots located in the J.P. Brown Survey Abstract number 59, Henderson County, Texas, and being all of the lots 1, 2, 4, and part of the lot 3 of Northwood Shores belonging to Infinity Lakefront LLC, and lots 5 and 6 and part of 7 and 8A belonging to Alfonso Ramirez, City of Gun Barrel City, Henderson County, Texas, more specifically described by plat attached hereto, marked Exhibit A, providing a severability clause, providing for the repeal of all ordinances in conflict, providing a penalty of fine not to exceed the sum of $2,000 for each offense, and providing an effective date. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to discuss and undertake action to adopt ordinance number O 2022-023, rezoning lots 1, 2, 4, and part of 3A, and lots 5-6, and part of 7 and 8A in the Northwood Shores subdivision, better defined as 2.048 acres in the AB 59 J.P. Brown Survey, Henderson County, Texas, in the City of Gun Barrel City, belonging to Infinity Lakefront LLC and Alfonso Ramirez from Local Business District B1 to General Business District B2.
May I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
I'd like to make a comment. I understand where the residents of the Leeway are coming from. Similar questions came regarding to Pier 334. From my personal perspective, Gun Barrel City sits in the middle of Cedar Creek Lake. We are a resort area, and I think many of you that are here today came to Gun Barrel City for that reason. For many reasons, we rely solely on sales tax to support the city, as well as some franchise fees as well. In order for the city to continue to support the infrastructure that's required, we have to look for opportunities to increase our sales tax revenue. That's just the way it is. And these areas provide us that opportunity. And we need to be diligent. We need to be able to make sure these projects do not affect our neighbors and citizens there. But these are areas that we have to look at developing for the good of the city.
Any further discussion? Vote from my left, please.
Yours, yes.
Evans, yes.
Through, yes.
Yes.
Ross, yes.
Item 4A, second reading of resolution number R 2022-018, approving a renovation grant and performance agreement to DBL-J Properties at CCLLC, located at 210 West Main Street, Gun Barrel City, Texas, an amount not to exceed $25,000. Resolution number R 2022-018, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Gun Barrel City, Texas, approving a renovation grant program and performance agreement by and between the Gun Barrel City Economic Development Corporation and DBL-J Properties at CCLLC, a Texas limited liability company, for improvements to property generally located at 210 West Main Street, Gun Barrel City, Texas, and providing for an immediate effective date. Item 4B, discuss and/or take action to adopt resolution number R 2022-018, approving a renovation grant and performance agreement to DBL-J Properties at CCLLC, located at 210 West Main Street, Gun Barrel City, Texas, in an amount not to exceed $25,000. May I have a motion, please?
Make a discussion, I make a motion to discuss and or take action to adopt resolution number R 2022-018, approving a renovation grant and performance agreement to DBL-J Properties at CC LLC located at 210 West Main Street, Gun Barrel City, Texas, in an amount not to exceed $25,000.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion?
Could we have the EDC director come up and explain a little bit more about this project, please?
Certainly.
Thank you. This is the executive suites. That's, I'm not sure what the old building it was. Everybody always tells me it's the old something. Anyway, they're executive suites building down near the McDonald's on the north side of Main Street, and they are offering.
Suites, is that, where they're renting them out, or is that the one you're talking about?
With
Trying to place exactly where this is.
210 West Main.
Okay,
210. They have offices available for rent, short-term and long-term. You can rent meeting rooms there for different events, and they're going to put up an electronic sign to list their tenants and promote the building.
Mr. It is the old,
They have red doors with like a circle handles.
Johnson Monroe. I couldn't get it out. It's the old Johnson Monroe building.
Are there any other questions?
Thank you.
Any further questions, concerns, comments? Vote from my left.
Oz, yes.
Evans, yes.
LaRue, yes.
Key, yes.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We are adjourned. And folks, let's go ahead and clear the building. We've kept everybody here long enough tonight.
Disparagement. Just doing my job.